Apparently, it's not worth working. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a look at this article from the ABC, just about, well, the issues with regards to working and how little money is worth it. So let's have a look. Victoria's regional coronavirus restrictions and living costs make a man question the worth of work. The worth of work. Shepparton truck driver Alan says he's struggling to make ends meet, one of the many regional Victorians battling to cover costs of living through another Stage 3 pandemic lockdown. He told ABC Central Victoria Breakfast that working a 40-hour week did not feel worthwhile when he would be only $200 worse off on the job seeker payment. Just think about that. That's the problem. That's the problem with having such a generous welfare system. It disincentivizes you for working. He's working 40 hours for essentially only $200 more. Is that worth it? Would you work 40 hours for an extra $200? I mean, he's not stupid. 40 hours, there's additional costs associated with it, there's additional stress, when you could be sitting at home and relaxing. Or learning a new skill. I'm your average working bloke, and every time I open my mailbox I could nearly cry. It seems at the moment, when you're trying to get in front, it doesn't seem to be working. Alan said during the past couple of years his council rates have gone up. Insurance has doubled, and cost-saving measures to lower his power bills weren't working. Well, because power's going up in Victoria, mate. You're the renewable state. They chucked all this money into wind turbines. And let's bring it up. You know, we'll bring it up. We'll bring it up here. Look at the energy market right now, how it's sitting in Australia. Right now. Let's see. Now we can see, look at this, we've got some actually at over 60% capacity, which is fantastic. Wind farm, wind farm, wind farm, wind farm. There we go, there's one over 30. So it's actually doing pretty good. It's actually doing pretty good. So the peak load power stations in the city don't need to be kicked in Victoria at the moment, but they've invested so much money in all of this infrastructure that often I'll go here and they're sitting at 0%. It's all to do with this little thing beyond our control. Beyond our control. Wind patterns, wind speed, it's variable. It's variable. There's one advantage Victoria has, just here, between Victoria and Tasmania. Huge amounts of natural gas. Huge amounts of natural gas. And do you know how much exploration is allowed to be done in natural gas right now in Victoria? Or even before we had these restrictions? Nothing. Nothing. Because they want to, they want to feel good. The inner city suburbanite hipsters want to feel good about, using their power. And yet, the average Australian is struggling to make ends meet. You've got pensioners who have to sit in the cold because they can't afford power. When we're in a nation with huge, abundant natural resources, we send them overseas so foreigners in other countries can live better than us. Fantastic. Good on you. Great. Okay? The environment will be fine, everyone. Calm the hell down. It's going to get sorted. Charging a pensioner a little bit extra for their power is not going to make any difference. It's going to have absolutely no impact. We'll bring up this quote from Finkel, the lead scientist here in Australia. If the world were to reduce its carbon emissions by 1.3%, which is our share of it, what impact would that have on climate change on the world? And his response was that it would have virtually nothing. Virtually nothing. But then, then you'll have all the people posturing, saying, oh, it's better to do something than nothing. It's better to make an example, but there's a cost associated with that. And we're seeing that manifest here. We're seeing an average bloke in tears as he's going to get his bloody power bill. We see in South Australia, another state, which has invested heavily in wind turbines everywhere. And these blades on these things can't be recycled, guys. They have to be buried. They have to be buried. Look at that. 24%, 15%. 9%. What do we have here? 6%, 18%, 15%. So you've got an investment in all of this technology, guys. All of this technology that's really inefficient. The utilization rate of this stuff isn't very high. You can even go down here and you can see You know, still most of it is coming from coal and brown coal and then natural gas, like up to here. So you may feel good for advocating for this stuff, but you're increasing the cost of people's quality of life, cost of living, and that affects their quality of life. That means they can't save enough to buy a house. That means both people have to work. That means you've got people who feel like they can't even afford to have kids. They're too scared to do it because they're struggling week on week. That's the manifestation of these ideological positions. But people don't get it. They can't put the pieces together in the puzzle. We saw in another video I did, social justice, inclusivity in hiring security guards. Now the country's going to be stuffed for years with additional unemployment and a recession that's going to be even longer because of all of this disaster. Because of some leftist thinking. Okay? And I'm being very biased here. Because if you've supported any one of those policies, you are one of the people that should be blamed for this. If you're so stupid to not realize the implication of removing merit from a hiring process, bloody hell. Anyway, I'm getting upset talking about this guy. I feel sorry for him, you know, because this is a mess. We shouldn't be in a situation where welfare is so generous, cost of living is so high, that there's no incentive for him to work. He's working his ass off 40 hours a week, driving a truck around, which isn't an easy job, which is an exhausting job, which is a dangerous job. And he's thinking he'll be better off on JobKeeper. Job Seeker. How's that good for our nation, guys? How's that good for the future of our civilization? Oh, so here we go. The bill is twice what it was 3 years ago. There you go. His power bill's gone up twice. Yesterday I got my registration bill. I can't drive my car anywhere. I can't use my car to drive across the border. I can't go on holidays. I can't drive anywhere other than work, to the shops, or for giving care. Well, that was great, yeah. He wants living costs such as registration, utilities, and food to be cheaper. Here in Queensland, we had a registration license bills go up again. You know, the state did that, and then they gave every civil servant free cash for doing absolutely bugger all to help stimulate the economy. They need to reduce the costs of the citizens, but then again, you can't buy votes like that, can you? You can't buy votes like that. Here's a controversial statement. If you're employed by the government, maybe you shouldn't be allowed to vote because there's a direct conflict of interest there. We work for things that we like. That should be what happens when you work full time. You should be able to have things, and it just seems it's not worth it, he said. For what they're paying to be unemployed, and with the healthcare card, I would nearly be as well off giving up work and being unemployed. Oh yeah, there's the other thing too, the perks that you get in the healthcare card. You just can't get ahead. Ken Machinago said the average working person doesn't feel they're getting ahead. Well, let us know in the comments, guys. Do you feel like you're getting ahead? Do you feel from one year to the next, do you feel like you're getting ahead? Or does it feel like a constant battle to get ahead? You've really, honestly, to get ahead, you've got to really cut back your quality of life. Really cut it back to the bone. Really drastic, and then work your ass off. I don't think it's as easy as it was. Guys, it's just not as easy as it was in the past. Ken Machino, the chief executive of Haven, Home Safe, and has worked with those doing it tough, including poverty and homelessness. He said wages had effectively doubled since the 70s, but housing cost had quadrupled. So the average person is working their butts off and doesn't feel like they're getting ahead, and they can't get ahead. But just imagine living on $40 a day, because that's where Job Seeker the doll is going to back on December 31. So assistance is available. But see, this is the thing. You don't want it too high because then it creates this perverse situation where this guy's working 40 hours a week and it's not worth it for him. But then you go, put up wages. But then the cost of everything will go up and more work will get outsourced overseas. What they need to do, they need to realize that the interventions that we've placed into the market that are encouraging people to invest in housing, it's causing damage to other sections. This is why. I've changed my tune against for negative gearing. I think it's causing more damage than it's worth. I think we need to scale it back. I think it needs to be phased out over time. And I know I would happily give up the opportunity to take advantage of it. Don't think I haven't considered it. I'm throwing everything at my house right now. But I could just as easily take a big chunk of money out, buy another property, and then become a property mogul. But I'm a bit paranoid. But do you think that's what we need as a nation? Should we be encouraging 57% of the wealth of our civilization to go into property, while our economic complexity continues to stagnate? While most of the stuff we export are virtually raw materials overseas, hardly anything is manufactured here. So, the federal government is making changes to JobKeeper worth an extra $15 billion so more businesses and employees in Victoria can access Social Security. Member for Nichols, Damien Drum, said regional Victorians had been dealt a terrible blow by Stage 3 restrictions. All you're going to have to do is prove you were on the books as of July 1, not way back in March, he said. Rural doctors have welcomed the federal government's $12 million funding boost to mental health services in Victoria. The funding will be split between Headspace, Kids Helpline, Lifeline and Beyond Blue, and used to recruit and train staff to deal with the increased demand for services. So health help. Victorians will also have access to an extra 10 subsidised psychology sessions from today. Kona GP and Victorian President of the Rural Doctors Association, Dr. Megan Bellett, said it was totally normal to find the lockdown difficulties and there were things we could do to stay sane. It's really important to take on board that we've done this before. We can do it again, she said. Try to set up a new daily routine. Make sure you're going to sleep at a decent hour, have daily exercise, and try to eat right. And I'd encourage you to reach out to those you know in Victoria, because they're going to need it. So there we have it, everyone. There we have it. It's not worth working. Would you work 40 hours a week for an extra $200? What do you think the solution is? More and more fees. More and more costs. The government takes with one hand and gives with the other. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below, guys. It's a tough one. It really is. And we'll have to see what happens. Because the problem is this could result in scarring to the economy. You can get whole groups of people that just can't be bothered working that say, stuff it, I'm stepping out. And don't jump back in. As always, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. If you want to support the channel, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve or Kucoin. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. And I will see you all in the next episode. Bye for now.